Well, time now to focus on the Sahel region of Africa. And the countries of this region have been experiencing a very significant upsurge in jihadi activity since the beginning of this year. And just over the last few months, there have been even more such violent attacks in Mali, in Niger, as well as in Burkina Faso. Well, I'm joined now on set by France 24's Wassim Nasr for more on this story. Hi, Wassim. Hi. First of all, give us some details. What exactly is going on? This has been a particularly bloody few months in that region. What are we talking about? What's been happening?
Indeed, and we're going to look at a map to see jihadi activity in the Sahel region since January 2025 until July 2025. What we see in yellow is the activity of JNIM, meaning the offshoot of Al-Qaeda in the region. In green is the Islamic State, and in gray is the areas where they are fighting each other. So you can see the scope of the activity going even beyond Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso towards Benin and Togo.
And we're actually hearing a lot about Islamic State being very active in this region. We don't hear much about it now here in Europe, but it is very active in the region. Can you explain that?
Indeed, it gained in activity as early as May 2025 with an attack in Ikniwan. We have footage of the attack, meaning following the same modus operandi as usual, meaning motorbikes, as we can see, roaming and attacking military facilities, which are poorly defended, and especially which are not aided or helped with airstrikes, meaning you can see like the small trenches that are quickly overwhelmed by the jihadis. We witnessed also attacks in southern Niger and the area of Duchi. We have footage also of it in Dosso, meaning on the border with Nigeria. And why is it very important? Because actually the Islamic State is creating a junction between its affiliate in Nigeria, meaning ISWAP, and its actual affiliate that we are seeing here in the Sahel region. And what we see actually is the road along the border between Niger and Nigeria. So this is very significant. We saw also attacks in Sangara against militias that were created by Niger's government to fight the jihadis. But the particular thing about it, and here it is that we are seeing that those militiamen are fighting the jihadis with bows and arrows, as you can see on this footage, meaning they don't even stand a chance. And also in Bani Bangu in June, we are still in Niger, there was a very important attack in this area, in the Tilaberi area, and you see the use of rockets. And we were talking about Nigeria, ISWAP. Those are the people who have the human skills to do so. You see, and we see also like booby-trapped cars, as we see here. It's maybe the second time we see it in Niger, so it's very significant. The Islamic State actually is creating a real sanctuary in this area of the three-border region through fighting local armies and militias, but also through fighting the JNIM, it's the Al-Qaeda affiliate. And a few weeks ago, there was 2 assassinations in Wallam city and in Ayuru, meaning the 2 towns which are like northern of the capital Niamey, where French special forces were deployed a few years back at the demand of President Bazoum, and they were replaced by the Americans till both French and Americans were kicked out by the new juntas.
So, Islamic State we see there with the bows and arrows and everything else, really present in that region. And you said they are now attacking JNIM, which was the local jihadist force there. Does that mean JNIM are on the back foot? They're really losing ground and Islamic State are dominating this area?
Well, actually, JNIM are still dominant, but the Islamic State is creating its own territory on the three-border region. We're going to listen to one of the leaders of JNIM in Burkina Faso.
Le régime de l'Alliance des États du Sahel tentent désespérément de camoufler leurs échecs militaires en accusant d'autres nations de soutenir une cause qu'ils ne comprennent ni n'acceptent. Ces accusations infondées ne sont qu'un rideau de fumée destiné à masquer leurs nombreuses défaites sur tous les fronts. Les armes que nous utilisons ne proviennent que des dépôts militaires qu'eux-mêmes ont abandonnés.
Well, actually, what he's talking about is victories of JNIM in the Sahel area, and he is responding to accusations by the juntas who accuse France, sometimes Algeria, sometimes Mauritania, sometimes Ivory Coast for helping the jihadis, which is of course false. And he talks about arms and ammunition that are taken by the jihadis in military facilities that they overwhelm, as we saw a few minutes back. What's important also is that JNIM is concentrating its effort in Mali. We are seeing training facilities in the area of Sikasso. We have footage of this from Sikasso, southern of Mali. Attacks are being prepared all the way to the capital, Bamako. We are seeing attacks against Russian soldiers who replaced Wagner. We also have footage of this. The latest attack was in the area of Tenenku, and here we see clearly a Russian military truck. But the most significantly, it was in August, the 19th of August, like coordinated attacks happened in the area of Ségou. They attacked the military barracks in Farabougou. We have footage of it on the dawn of the 19th of August. Here is the footage. We are talking about big military facilities, actually. And what's interesting about this, it's that at the same time, at the same day, another military facility next to Diabali, a town, was also attacked, and we have footage of it. And we're going to see that even though the military tried to make two lines of defense, as we're going to see in this footage, where actually, despite that, you see the second line of defense, it was overwhelmed by the jihadis. And we are also going to see how they operate, meaning with motorbikes, because motorbikes, and we're going to see it on the footage in Farabougou, they give them the element of surprise. Since there is no air cover, they can move quickly and overrun facilities with motorbikes, and then we're going to see them roaming in the military facilities, meaning they can stay for a long time in the military facilities unchecked, and they also can leave the military facilities with ammunition, water, and gas oil. And we're going to see it on on another footage, how they take ammunition from those facilities, meaning they are proving that actually they are being reinforced by those attacks against military facilities. And we're going to listen to the Malian Prime Minister.
Le groupe armé terroriste s'attaque aux unités industrielles, s'attaque aux corridors en 2025. Ils le font parce que justement, les cibles militaires qu'ils attaquaient avec une relative aisance en 2012 et en 2013, aujourd'hui n'est plus possible.
And what's interesting about this, it's actually the Prime Minister is acknowledging that JNIM is attacking industrial facilities and roads next to Bamako, but he says that they are attacking those civilian facilities because they are unable to attack military facilities. But we can see through the image that still they're attacking military facilities. And we are going to listen also, we're going to see one of the JNIM leaders in Mali talking about the attacks of Farabougou, where I got to learn from sources, and the interesting thing about this, that he's speaking in Bambara, meaning he's not an Arab, he's not a Fulani, and he's not a Tuareg, meaning their outreach to other ethnic groups is actually working. And he says that...
So where would he be from?
He's Malian, you know, but not from the usual, may I say, ethnic groups that join jihadi groups. And I got to know from sources that there were an agreement in Farabougou with the locals, but also with the army, meaning to have a kind of a ceasefire. And once some of the locals reached out to the Russians, JNIM attacked the facility that we saw earlier, but they also took the town, which they still control as we speak.
You were telling me just before we started about the practice of hostage taking. Both Islamic State and JNIM engage in hostage taking. And until now, they have mostly targeted Westerners. But you were saying they've changed now and they target differently. Who now might be a hostage victim?
Well, actually, it's a very good question, because JNIM dropped taking into custody Western citizens when they freed the last 3 hostages they had in February 2024. Today, they focus on the Chinese, the Russians. They have Chinese hostages, Russian, Indian, and one Iranian or Turkish hostage. We are talking about JNIM. The Islamic State still has an Austrian women that they took in Agadez in Niger, and they still hold. And what we see here on this picture is actually the 4 Moroccan hostages, truck drivers, that were freed by the Islamic State lately through negotiations with Bamako. And why is it interesting? Because actually they were taken hostage in Burkina Faso, while they were on their way to Niger, and they were freed in Bamako, meaning we see that there's no border that stands for jihadi groups there, and we see that despite the negotiations that were happening with Bamako, the Islamic State still attacked a few days back the facility of Tessit, and also they attacked it on the 19th of August, meaning, if you remember, the same day as JNIM, its rival group, were attacking and conducting coordinated attacks in the area of Segou. So we can see that actually the agenda of jihadi groups, even when they are fighting, is still overwhelming the 3 juntas in the Sahel region.